If you have a stock air cleaner on your Harley Davidson, this is what your engine is breathing in. This is actually the catch can that I install on my bike in order to learn how much junk is coming inside of the combustion chamber after our breather system will throw out this air that is coming from the engine. If you would like to learn how to avoid this problem, please stick around and I will show you what I got. Here we go. So let's talk about this breather system that we have on our Harley Davidson engine. So there is a lot of moving parts inside of the engine. As you can imagine, when we are riding those bikes at 6,000 RPMs, there is a lot of pressure that is building up inside of the small compartment of the engine. And this breather system is designed that all this extra air under the pressure will go inside of our heads, and then from the heads it will actually feed to the air filter, and this air will supposed to be sucked inside of the combustion chamber and burned due to the EPA regulations that don't allow this air to be vented outside. So smart engineers at Harley Davidson designed this system to make sure that they comply with this EPA regulation, but at the same time there is a problem with this solution, because sometimes this extra air that is coming out from the engine is polluted with oil, and if there is a lot of blow-by, we can see that by looking at our filters that are sometimes soaked in oil and sometimes even dripping outside of the air filter and just dripping on our engine, which is not really that uncommon for a lot of Harley Davidson riders. In order to avoid that, and also this dirty air being sucked inside of the engine and combustion chamber and polluting this internals of our engine and just building up all this extra junk inside on the pistons and combustion chamber walls and valves, I decided to modify this backplate that will help us to avoid that. So let me show you how I did that, and I will show you this short procedure, and you will know how you can avoid this problem and have really nice and clean air being fed to your engine and just keep all these internal parts nice and clean. So let me quickly show you, for quick reference, this filter assembly. So you have the backplate, you have the filter, and you have the cover. In my specific case, I replaced this element that was initially oval with this SNS design that is round, but the idea behind it is exactly the same. So let me show you what you will need in order to modify this backplate. Obviously you will need the backplate, you will need the hose, you will need this splitter, you will need a small piece of the plastic or the rubber. I also have the super glue in here, thread lock, and this one is the bleeder screw. This is a punch. This one is the tape, the pliers, hammer, hacksaw, and the drills, and tap and die set. So in order to modify this, you can follow these simple steps, and obviously I did this procedure on my bike before, so I will be backtracking a little bit, but I will show you some pictures from the job when I did it, so hopefully you will have a pretty good idea how to get this modification done. So the first thing that you would like to do will be to plug these holes that are originally designed to route this air from the heads the same way like stock. And this will be our throttle body in here. So you would like to make sure that those holes are plugged and the air cannot really come out from here. So you will take this small piece of plastic. You will have to make sure that it's not hollow. You will cut this tiny little piece, let's say this much. So you have these two pieces in here, and you will stack them inside of those holes, in here and in here. I mean, yeah, this is just for the demonstration purposes. you will just push them inside as much as you can on both sides. And what I did later on, I applied the super glue to just seal those two plugs to make sure that the air cannot come out from here. And I know that some people actually cut the thread inside of those tiny holes and just put the tiny little screw, but I went with the plastic pieces, or the rubber pieces will be fine too, because I was afraid that if by any chance this piece will come out, I think that if that will be a metal, it will create some serious damage inside of the engine. So for this reason, I decided to go with the plastic pieces, and I have to say it worked pretty good. What you will do next, you will flip this back plate, and this is the back of it, and you will take the punch and you will hit it with the hammer in the location where you would like to put your bleeder screw that will allow this air to come out through it. So basically you will try to connect this screw. There will be a hole in here, it will go inside, and that will allow connection of the hose that will be coming out from here. So obviously you will have to have the drill. You will choose appropriate size of the drill bit, and you will drill 2 holes on the both sides. After you have the holes drilled on the bottom of this back plate, you will have to choose appropriate size of the top in order to cut the thread inside. So this will allow you to put this bleeder screws on both sides in here. So now the air will come out from those 2 holes from the bleeder screw. So let's talk about these bleeder screws. So idea is that we'll have to install those screws inside of the back plate, but as you can see, they are way too long. An additional issue with this is the fact that there is nice opening on this side, but this bleeder screw have this tiny little opening in here, which is not enough to flow enough air through this screw. So I will cut it in half just to make sure that we have this nice opening going all the way through the screw, and is a little bit shorter, so it's not sticking out, as this opening have to be the same diameter after we install this piece. So after you cut your bleeder screw in half, you will notice that right now you will have nice opening on the both sides, so there is no airflow restriction. So make sure that the size of this hole is at least the same diameter or bigger than the screw that is holding this backplate to the heads, just to make sure that you don't restrict the proper airflow. Obviously you will have to cut both of those bleeder screws, and you will attach them in here, and you can use the tape and just wrap it around the thread just to make sure that there is no leak. And later on, this will allow you to attach the hose coming from the both sides. Next, you will take your hose and you will cut smaller pieces, let's say this much, and maybe another one kind of the same length. So right now you will have this bleeder screw sticking out from here, and you will attach the hoses, and here you will use your T-connector. So what you will try to do, you will try to create something like this. So those 2 hoses will be coming from both sides. There will be T-connector in here, and the hose will go down, and this hose will go on the bottom of the frame, and it will route to the back. So after you will do this modification to your air filter, you should be able to put your air filter on your bike the same way as you will always do. So you can use a service manual for your motorcycle, or you can actually use maybe the manual from the manufacturer of your specific air filter. The only difference will be the fact that you will have this extra hose that will have to be routed, and most of the people will route those hoses under the frame, and they will put the catch can at the end of it. In my specific situation, I decided to go with like a little bit different solution. I always look for the different options for my bike, and I found this small separator that is also acting as a catch can. So let me show you what I got and how I installed that, and that will allow me to collect a little bit of extra oil, and is super easy to clean. So now I will apply the air filter, just to make sure you put a little bit of oil on the edges. Okay, here it is. Okay, so this is how the air filter look like after the back plate was modified. On the outside you can almost say nothing. There is almost nothing visible besides this little hose that is coming down and under the engine and is later on going to the catch can. This is actually the catch can that will go under the frame, and I create this, I built this little bracket. This is aluminum bracket, and this separator is from K Motors. So I bought the different spigots for this one, just so I can connect the hoses to it. And yeah, the oil is supposed to come in here, separate in here, or collect in here, and the air will come out from this side. So this is what I got. And yeah, the separator was about $30. So I will install it on the bike right now. So here is what I end up with. This is our exhaust pipe, and there is some extra space in here. So I installed this catch can in here. There is the hose coming from this head, from the air filter, and yeah, all this junk is going inside of the can, and the air is escaping on the opposite side. So here you can actually see how much junk I accumulated while riding the bike after installing this, and all this contamination that you can see in here otherwise will go inside of the intake and inside of the combustion chamber. So I can definitely see that the system is working, and yeah, I'm glad I did this. This is really easy to clean. You can just unscrew this and clean this junk, and yeah, just put it back together later on. So yeah, this is definitely helpful, and maybe it's a little bit of the overkill due to the size, but I didn't know what to expect initially, and I know that some of this engine can throw a lot of oil, so I thought that I will start with this, and just because I already installed, I will probably keep it. But if you have like a serious problem with overflowing the oil, yeah, you might consider something a little bit bigger, but obviously that will be indication of probably a little bit more serious problem with your engine. So there is one more last tip that I would like to share with you guys. In case you are experiencing a lot of blow by through the heads, make sure that you check your engine, because from what I notice, when people have this oil level at the top, many times they will experience this extra oil coming from the heads and saturating the air filter. So it's a good idea to monitor your oil, so when your engine is hot, to have probably about 50-60% on your dipstick, rather than having the full mark in here. So in case you wonder if I like this modification, I have to say yes, I'm really happy about what I did to my bike, and this is mainly because of the fact that I was able to see what contamination will go to the combustion chamber of my engine. So obviously running this nice cold air inside of your engine is better than getting this hot air with the particles of oil that later on are being burned into your combustion chamber and creating all these additional deposits. So I will highly recommend this modification to your bike. It doesn't really take that much time or effort to do it. It's probably about 50-60 bucks for these additional items, and maybe one longer afternoon during this winter months that you might be able to pull this off. So yeah, I think that this is definitely worth a try. So I really hope that you like this episode, and you can probably take advantage and do the same modification to your motorcycle. And if you would like to connect with me on the different levels, I'm also on the Instagram. I have my Facebook group, and obviously I post some shorts on the TikTok. And I always would like to invite you to connect with me on the Facebook group. This is the nice platform to kind of touch the base in the real time. I also try to answer all the questions that you guys might have on this video on YouTube. So please like and subscribe. You have the subscription button on the right corner of your screen. I will really appreciate if you visit our channel again. So thank you guys so much, and as always, ride safe, and I really hope to see you on the road one day, and take care. Bye bye.